It's that time of year, folks. It's time to watch the greatest sports movie of all time. Draft day. It's draft day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Woo! Folks, welcome to Jimmy Hadler's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jimmy Hadler, and on today's episode, I'll be talking about my NFL mock draft of the first round in the 2023 NFL Draft. Before I start, make sure you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Would appreciate it. So how would I be doing this mock draft, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'm not going to be doing any trades because I'm not a genie. I'm not a guru of knowing who's going to trade up, who's going to trade down, what's going to happen in the draft. I'm not going to know any of that. How I will be doing this is by going through 1 through 31. It's not 1 through 32 because the Miami Dolphins lost their first round pick due to tampering for Tom Brady and Sean Payton. I'll go where it is and I will predict the best fit for each player that fits the team. So I'm going to help the team out. I would be the GM, let's say, for the Falcons, and I would pick what fits the best need at their pick right now. So if that's how I'll be doing it, let's get started here. With the first overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. I think this is a good pick for the Panthers here. They definitely need a quarterback. They've tried to go veterans so many times with Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, Baker Mayfield last season. I think they need a franchise quarterback to save football in Carolina, folks. They need that. So Bryce Young, I think, is a great fit for the Panthers here. He's got a strong arm. He's got the highest ceiling out of all the other quarterbacks in this draft, in my opinion. I think it's the best quarterback here, ladies and gentlemen. So this would be a great fit here for the Panthers to take. With the second overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select C.J. Stroud, quarterback from Ohio State. Now, C.J. Stroud, he's had mobility. He can make all the crazy moves in the pocket, outside of the pocket. He's phenomenal. He's dynamic. This is a great pick here. These are the Texans. It's either going to go C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, in my opinion, for one or two. These are the two guys. I think both of those guys will be excellent. I think C.J. Stroud is going to be a solid quarterback in this league. However, due to the history of Ohio State with quarterbacks, they don't usually pan out. Now, the recent one that's been success as of lately is Justin Fields. Has he turned very good in the NFL? No, but he's been all right in this NFL league. So we'll have to see how it pans out there. But in history of Ohio State, they've really never had that many great quarterbacks going into the NFL or played well in the NFL. Never had that many great ones. So we'll have to see with C.J. Stroud, but I think he can be a solid guy for the Houston Texans. With the third overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Will Anderson Jr., edge rusher from Alabama. I think the Cardinals, they are way over. They need something here because they don't have that many great players on the team. Need help on the defense, especially there. They lost J.J. Watt, and I think this is the next J.J. Watt, ladies and gentlemen. Will Anderson here. Fantastic, and get after the quarterback, put some pressure on them. That's where I think the Cardinals need it because the offense, it's just a mess right now. I mean, Kyler Murray, he's not doing that great. They're all over the place. Having a pass rusher will help set the tone for the defense. I think this would be a great pick for the Cardinals to take care. With the fourth overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky. Now, Will Levis, he's shown flashes of him being good. He can be good. However, I think he's a project quarterback in my opinion. I don't think he should be taken this high, but given the Colts, they don't really have a quarterback here. Now, they could also go with Anthony Richardson. I would not be surprised here, but they need something here. But both those quarterbacks, and I'll get to Anthony Richardson in a bit here as I got him in my mock draft. Levis, I think they're both project quarterbacks. They need time to develop. They need something here. Colts, they've had no quarterback. They've gone for veteran QBs with Matt Ryan, Philip Rivers, ever since Andrew Luck retired. That has not worked out for the Colts. Not whatsoever. Now, the Colts have some good pieces. They have Jonathan Taylor. They have a solid offensive line. They have good pieces on the defense. Colts have everything. They just need the quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. I think with Will Levis, it's going to take him time to fully develop here. He's a project guy. Once he fully develops, I think he can be a solid guy. But as of right now, it's a boom or bust, in my opinion, for this kind of quarterback. And I think the Colts need to take a shot. They need to take a shot somewhere because the veteran quarterbacks, They've not looked good for them, as I just mentioned. Will Levis here, I think, would be a good fit for the Colts. With the 5th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Tyree Wilson, edge rusher from Texas Tech. I think the Seahawks need help on the defense. The offense, I think it's good. They still need offensive line help there, but I think defense is a high priority issue, in my opinion, for the Seahawks. They have some good secondary pieces, but I think the defensive line has been the biggest weakness on the Seahawks team. The Seahawks need something, again, as I mentioned with the Cardinals, they need a pass rusher to get off the quarterback. They need something to put pressure on the opposing QBs. I think the Seahawks need that because they were lacking in sacks this past couple seasons, so I think this would help them out again. Have a new edge rusher, young, great guy that's built to do that job. I think Tyree Wilson is a great player here for the Seahawks. I think he would be phenomenal for them. With the 6th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Christian Gonzalez, CB from Oregon. Now, the Lions just traded Jeff Okudah to the Falcons for a 5th-round pick. I don't think Jeff Okudah was that great, even though he's the 3rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft with Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Tua. I didn't see him pan out. He had to deal with injuries. He wasn't that great when he was put in. I think he needed a fresh start, ladies and gentlemen. I think he just did. But if Christian Gonzalez, I think he's phenomenal. I think he's the best cornerback in this draft. And the Lions need that. They need another CB to replace it because their secondary is the weakness, I would say, for this entire team here. The offense has solid pieces. They're looking good. The defensive line is amazing. They need help in that secondary to cover wide receivers because they're going to have to cover Justin Jefferson, Christian Watson, DJ Moore now with the Chicago Bears in their division, the NFC North. So Lions, they got to protect that secondary, and they need help out there. Now, the report just came out recently that some of the players gambled. It wasn't for their own football league in the NFL, it was other sports. But that's going to hurt the Lions also a bit here. I think Christian Gonzalez is going to be a great fit for the Lions and help them out, help improve that secondary a whole lot more. With the 7th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia. Now, Jalen Carter, he has a story. Most sports fans already know. He had that incident of being involved with the car crash, with the Georgia's player and the employee. It's a whole mess a little bit here. That's why he's been falling on the board lately, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. Teams have questioned him, try to get his side of the story, and they feel a little bit better about it, but they're still questioning whether that's going to be a huge impact or not, and it could be a huge risk. So it could be a high risk, high reward scenario for the Raiders here, and that's why I think they should take him here. They need help on the defense line. Now, I know they have Chandler Jones and Max Crosby for the pass rush on the outside here, but they need help on the inside. They need help on that inside, ladies and gentlemen, to get in and stop the run because they need help on the defensive line real badly. Having Jalen Carter here would be a great fit. Gets after the quarterback. He makes a lot of tackles, makes a lot of stops here. So high risk, high reward, I would say, for Jalen Carter of getting him. With the 8th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Devin Witherspoon, CB from Illinois. Now, I just mentioned with the Lions that they traded Jeff Okudah to the Falcons, but I do think the Falcons should get another CB, in my opinion. They have A.J. Terrell, which is a very good Pro Bowl, one of the best CBs in the league. With this, you can have a mix here. You can put Okudah at the slot. You can put Witherspoon in the other spot, the opposite spot of A.J. Terrell, and you can learn and develop on her. So that would make the secondary very good for the Falcons and would be a solid secondary for them. So I think the Falcons need another guy in the CB just besides Jeff Okudah. They just need another guy because they've been dealing with injuries in the secondary so many times. I think they need help out there. Why not get a young guy, young rookie, put him out there for the Falcons? I think it would help them out a lot here because the Falcons need help on that defense. They have improved in this offseason. I really like that of some of their moves here. But I think another CB here for the Falcons would benefit them heavily. I think it would benefit them here. So I got Devin Witherspoon going with the Atlanta Falcons at the 8th overall pick. With the 9th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears, boo Bears, select Paris Johnson, offensive tackle from Ohio State. I think This is what the Bears need. They need an offensive lineman here. You need to protect Justin Fields. He's your franchise quarterback. You got to protect him. He was dealing with injuries last year. He was almost done for the rest of the year. Hurt him bits. Offensive line for the Bears has not been great for the past couple of years. I mean, they do have some good pieces. They have Tevin Jenkins, who was good, but then he got hurt late in the season. So I think this would be very good for the Bears. They need to protect the quarterback. They need help in the offense. They especially need help in that run game. The offense has been a mess with the Chicago Bears. It has been a mess. They need protection. Give Justin Fields more time to throw. I think they just need that. They need an offensive lineman here to help with the run game, help with the pass game. This would be a great fit. And I think Paris Johnson is one of the best tackles in this draft. So I think the Bears should take him here. I don't want him to, but if I'm the Bears GM, I'd take him here. With the 10th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, 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 woo, woo, select Lucas Van Ness, edge rusher from Iowa. Now, I know the Eagles have pretty good pass rush, edge rush with Hassan Reddick as a huge example. I still think they need help with the defensive line more. Now they're getting some guys older. Brandon Graham, he's getting older. He's not going to be around much longer. Fletcher Cox, he's getting older too. But they do have Jordan Davis to help replace there. I think on the other side of Hassan Reddick, they need help there for the pass rush because I mentioned they're just getting rotational guys. They need help there. Now, I could see them taking defensive tackle because they lost Jason Hargrave, who went to the 49ers. I think they still need help on that defense line, but I think edge rusher would be a good fit here for the Eagles. You get a young guy. You don't have to worry about it next year. This is a very good edge rushing draft. So I think Lucas Van Ness would be a good fit here. He's also pretty good pass rusher from Iowa. So I think the Eagles will take a defensive player. They do need help with the safety, but with Branch, who's the best safety in this draft, I think it's a little too high for the Eagles to take. Lucas Van Ness would be a good fit for the Eagles, and I think the Eagles could benefit from another pass rusher. Because you can, once you have that pass rusher in of Lucas Van Ness, then that Eagles defense is going to be scary to deal with. Now, secondary does need help too, as I mentioned before, but that defensive line for the Eagles is going to be annoying to face. It's going to be annoying to face. With the 11th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. I think the Titans need to take a quarterback here. A, Ryan Tannehill's getting old, and he's not that great. B, the Titans are a mess right now. They just made. They made one of the worst trades, possibly, was A.J. Brown last year in the draft. I think they need a quarterback to develop. Anthony Richardson, he's a boomer bust, in my opinion. He's not that great when I watch him. He could be great. Don't get me wrong. He's athletic. That's great about him. I think he could be good. But I just don't see it here of him being that great of like high potential. He could win MVP, go to Hall of Fame. I don't see it here. I just don't. This is a boomer bust, as I mentioned with Levis. It's a project quarterback. I would have Anthony Richardson sit under Ryan Tannehill for the first couple of games, and then you get Anthony Richardson going. Because I think the Titans need to get a quarterback. It's just kind of slowly developing for them. But they're an interesting team to take any position. They can take offensive line. They can take wide receiver. That's an interesting team to watch out for in this draft. With the 12th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Myles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. Now, the Texans, they have so many props. They would get Myles Murphy here. I think the Texans need defensive help badly. They've not had great pass rush ever since J.J. Watt and Clowney have left them. So I think this would be a good fit for the Texans. They need to address this here, and Myles Murphy can be that guy to get off the quarterback, get the sacks, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I think Texans would appreciate this pick here. I think they would. With the 13th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets, as of right now, because we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to get traded to the Jets with that pick or not, we don't know. So I'm going to go with the Jets here still. Select Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman, Northwestern. Peter Skoronski is the grandson of Bob Skoronski, who played for the Green Bay Packers during Vince Lombardi times when he was with the Green Bay Packers. during that run where they won the 5 championships in 7 years. Peter is the grandson. Now, Peter, I think he's the second, or you could argue the best offensive lineman in this draft. He is fantastic, has great blocking with the run, doesn't allow any sacks when given to him. He has great footwork. This guy is off the chart at being fantastic. He can be amazing, I feel, coming out of this draft. I think he could be. And I think the Jets, let's say if they get Aaron Rodgers, which is most likely going to happen, most likely by the time I put this video out, most likely here. With Aaron Rodgers, let's just say if they get him, you got to protect your quarterback. You got to protect him. And I think Peter Skoronski can help the Jets out here. I think be a great fit. Protect them, get the run game going because they had Breece Hall last year. He got hurt. You got to protect the run game and your quarterback, and it helps the offensive game out a lot more. So I think this would help the Jets out on the offense because they got to keep loading. Help, please, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, if you go in as I'm repping him, ladies and gentlemen. Got to help Aaron Rodgers out if you want to win a Super Bowl, Jets, because you're going to make a major commitment of getting Aaron Rodgers since you've been working this whole offseason to kind of please and get him to come over with so many moves you've made. With the 14th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Joey Porter, CB from Penn State. Now, Joey Porter, I think he's a fantastic CB. Watching him from Penn State, not that far from where I am, watch him on the TV sometimes. He is great. He is great in coverage, has a great pass breakups, lockdown, shutdown guy. He's great. I think the Patriots need to take a CB here. They need to help out the secondary a little bit more here. They have some good pieces out there, but I think they need to get another CB going here. I just think that's the right fit here, and Belichick loves defense. He loves defense so much here. I think it'd be a good fit for the New England Patriots. Taking Joey Porter here would help him out a lot, I feel like. Instead of the offense, I mean, they could take another offensive player here of wide receiver, but I think CB would be more beneficial to the New England Patriots here, in my opinion. So I got Joey Porter going with the Patriots. So if you're a New England Patriots fan and love Penn State, there you go, Joey Porter. And now we get to my pick. Ooh. Every year when I think I have my dream pick, my Packers taking this of a guy, never happens. Never happens when I hope my team gets this one guy I always hope for in the first round. Never happens. But every time the Packers draft, their first round pick does very good. So I'm not going to complain, Brian Gutekunst. I'm not going to complain. But I would have liked to get some good picks like a wide receiver. I mean, we did get Christian Watson, who was basically a first-round pick. It was 4 picks after the first round. That's basically a first-round pick. Come on. Anyway, please, just do something good here, Brian. Just do something good. Make another good pick here. That's what I'm hoping for. But with the 15th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers, the 3-time world-time champions, ladies and gentlemen, select Jackson Smith, wide receiver from Ohio State. Very hard to pronounce his last name. I was not going to get it right as soon as I pronounce it, so I'm just going to go Jackson Smith just to be safe here because I'm not going to get his full last name right. But this pick is my dream pick for the Green Bay Packers to take here. We need another wide receiver. We need an offensive weapon. Defensively, we've drafted so many guys over the years. For once, pick an offensive weapon that's a receiver. Please. I mean, you could take tight end, but I don't want a tight end in the first round. This would please me. You have Christian Watson. You got Romeo Doubs. Jackson in there. That wide receiver room would be so good. Especially with Jordan Love, who's going to be a starter this year. That offense, very young, but it could be solid for the Packers. So I think this would be a great move for the Packers to take here at the 15th overall pick. I'm really hoping for it. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm really hoping for that to happen. I'm really hoping for it. So I got Jackson going to the Green Bay Packers at the 15th overall pick. Go Pack Go, baby. Go Pack Go. With the 16th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Brian Branch, safety from Alabama. This is the best safety by far in this draft. Probably going to be the only safety that gets drafted in this first round. This safety draft class is not that great. This is the best one. So I think the Commanders need to take advantage because their secondary needs help. needs help with that safety position. I think Brian Branch could be a very good, useful for the Commanders. I mean, they did have good safeties many years ago, but that has not helped them out a lot. I think with this pick with Brian Branch, he'd be great with the Commanders. They need help in that secondary so much. Brian Branch would be the guy that would best fit for the Commanders, in my opinion. With the 17th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Steel Nation, select Broderick Jones, offensive tackle from Georgia. I'm going to say for many years that I said this when Najee Harris got drafted. I don't think the Steelers should have drafted him, in my opinion, for that. Even though he's good. They should have went offensive line because that offensive line has been terrible. Terrible for so many years. So many years. It's been atrocious. It's not been great for the Steelers. When Big Ben was on that team, he kept hurting him in the recent year when he was just on a couple years ago. Kept getting him hurt. Najee Harris kept getting hurt. Doesn't help out the quarterback whatsoever. Kenny Pickett doesn't help him out. They need to protect the quarterback. They need to help the run game out. They really need to help the offense. Defensively, they're good. They still need a couple more pieces. I mean, they have TJ Watt. They have Minka Fitzpatrick at the safety. But they need help on that offensive line. When you have that offensive line solidified and good and great, then the Steelers have a shot to be good. I think this would help out because they really need help at that tackle. They really need help at tackle. So Broderick Jones, I think, would be a fantastic pick here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the 18th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Dalton Kincaid, tight end from Utah. Now, I think this is a very good tight end draft. I think the Lions need to get a tight end because they did trade TJ Hawkinson away to the Minnesota Vikings, their rival in the NFC North. This would be another good offensive weapon for Jared Goff. Another good offensive weapon here. This will help the Lions out. He's one of the best tight ends in this draft here. Many people compare him to Gronkowski, Kelsey type of guy. This can be a great pick. Can be a great pick for the Lions. And they've done well with tight end. I mean, they did get TJ Hawkinson a couple years ago when I wanted my team to get him. That worked out for them. And the Lions always do well with drafting tight ends. And I think Dalton Kincaid could be a very good in Dan Campbell's system. The offense, I think, would be good here for the Lions. And this would be a great toy for Jared Goff because he loves throwing at tight ends. The 19th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. I think the Buccaneers need to take a running back. Leonard Fournette, they won the Super Bowl. He's gone down. He's not been the same guy since. I think Bijan Robinson, he's great talent, best running back, obviously, in this draft, in my opinion. This is what the Bucs need. They need help in the run game. They need help. They do have a good offensive line, but they need help with the run game very much. Now, this is the only running back I will say I will take in the first round of my mock draft here, just because not many running backs get taken, mostly towards the later round. But I think this is going to be the highest pick here of running back taking. Maybe you could say the Philadelphia Eagles I mentioned earlier, but I don't see it. I think Bijan Robinson would help the Buccaneers out. He could be another Saquon Barkley. You would want that on your team. I think the Bucs need to take advantage of that, and they need help in the run game. Take Bijan Robinson. With the 20th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Kalijah Kancey, defensive lineman from Pittsburgh. This is another need the Seahawks need. They already got edge rusher in this draft, as I mentioned earlier. They need to fix that defensive line, as I mentioned with other teams. Fix that defensive line, and you're going to be good here. He is a perfect fit here for that defensive tackle. Makes the stops. He has great footwork. He can make the tackles, stop the run game, especially he's great with, and he can put pressure on the quarterback a little bit here. This would be a great pick for the Seattle Seahawks. Fix that defense. Create a new Legion of Boom, Seahawks. Yeah. I don't like the Seahawks, but that's what the plan's got to be for the Seahawks to ace in this draft. Rebuild the Legion of Boom, that defense. Because the offense, they got good players. Defensively, they got to rebuild that. They got to rebuild that. And I think Kancey would be a good pick here for the Seahawks. Good pick. With the 21st overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Nolan Smith, edge rusher from Georgia. I think the Chargers need another edge rusher. I mean, they did try Khalil Mack, but that didn't work out. They still have Joey Bosa, but he gets injured a couple times every year in the season. I think they need to address another edge rusher here. Just take another cheap guy, first rounder. He's a good guy. You saw in the title game, he was atrocious. He got after the quarterback, especially on Georgia defense, which is very good. Very good Georgia defense. Noah Smith was very good on that team. And now we get to the 22nd overall pick, which is the Baltimore Ravens here. Will they trade away? Will they gain another pick? Do Lamar Jackson? Repping some Baltimore Ravens gear here, as I've worked the Baltimore Ravens game day before. Just want to give a quick shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. Great organization to allow me to do the experiences. It was fantastic there. But let's get back into the draft here. So I'd give a quick shout. With the 22nd overall pick, the 2023 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Quentin Johnson, wide receiver from TCU. Ravens, they need another offensive weapon. This would help your case if you want to keep Lamar Jackson. I mean, you could have Tyler Huntley as your quarterback QB1 because he was in the Pro Bowl, so he's good, folks. He's very good, obviously. But this makes the case for Lamar Jackson. Let's say if he stays for this time being, you have Odell Beckham Jr. Quentin Johnson helps make your case here. He's another great, I would say he's the second best receiver in this draft, in my opinion. Great slot. He didn't do much in the playoff game when you look at it, but overall stats, when you look at it, fantastic. Great slot guy. He can do well. He has some great route running, has good footwork here and there. So I think this would be good for the Baltimore Ravens to take an offensive weapon because they need someone else besides Mark Andrews. And they do utilize the run game a lot, and I will say that they use tight ends and running backs a lot, and offensive linemen basically as a weapon. Technically, not really, but technically it is for them. They'll use that heavily around the run game, but they need to open it up a little bit more because they've not had a great receiver one in a bit here. I mean, they did have Marquise Hollywood Brown, but they traded him to the Arizona Cardinals a couple years ago. Didn't help them out. 0-1. They really need that. So I think Quentin Johnson would help the Baltimore Ravens offense a lot and helps them be more aggressive on fourth downs, ladies and gentlemen. Helps them be more aggressive. But I think this would be a great fit here for the Baltimore Ravens. Overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. The Minnesota Vikings. I just hate saying it. I can't say it. Select Deonte Banks, CB from Maryland. I think the Vikings offense is great. It is fantastic. The defense, that's a whole different ballgame. The defense is old. It doesn't have many great players. They lost Patrick Peterson this past offseason, who was solid for the Vikings. He went to the Steelers. I think the Vikings need another help player. They need help in the secondary. Harrison Smith, he's a safety. He's getting up there in age, but the CBs have been trouble for the Minnesota Vikings for years, and they need CBs to cover some guys because they're going to have to, in the division-wise, they're going to have to cover DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams. They will have to cover after the suspension. They will have to cover him sometime. So I think the Vikings need to have help in that secondary a whole lot because I think that's the biggest weakness in that team is the secondary, especially on the defense. I think Banks would be a great pick here for the Vikings. He's solid in my opinion, but when Minnesota Vikings draft CBs, they've turned out to be bust in the first round here. So I think this would be a good pick here for the Minnesota Vikings because I think Banks could be a good player for the Vikings. I think he could. With the 24th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Khalil Ringo, CB from Georgia. I think the Jaguars also need help here in CB. Now they have great players all over the place here. Offensively, they're fantastic. Defensively, they have good pieces, but I think they need another secondary help here. They need help in the CB because that was a big weakness when you watch in the playoffs for the Jaguars. The CBs were not helping them out, especially when you watched them against the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoff game. Did not help them out. Did not help them out. So they need help with having coverage there. They're going to probably go zone or maybe man, depending on how the defensive coordinator is for the Jaguars. But he would be helpful. Ringo was good with Georgia. I think he would help the Jaguars defense out a lot more here. So I think this would be a good pick here for the Jaguars to take. 25th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. The New York Giants select Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College. I think this would help the Giants out. They need a wide receiver. They badly need a wide receiver. They have Saquon Barkley, which he still hasn't signed his franchise tag. They re-signed Daniel Jones. They had Kenny Galladay, but Galladay got paid, but wasn't productive for the Giants. Wasn't productive. So I think the Giants need to get a wide receiver here because it's not looked good for them. It just hasn't looked good when you look at them because they don't even have a receiver 2. They don't have a wide receiver 1. They really don't have a wide receiver 2. So Zay Flowers, I think, would be a solid guy here for them. I think he would be. This is what the Giants need. They need an offensive weapon. Help Daniel Jones out. He needs more weapons. He needs better weapons than just heavily rely on Saquon Barkley. The Giants need more offensive weapons here. With the 26th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, as people say, no, they're not America's team, select Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. Cowboys lost Dalton Schultz this past offseason, and I think the Cowboys need to address tight end. They also need to get an offensive weapon here. They do have CeeDee Lamb, which is good for them. They have Michael Gallup a bit there too, but I think offensive weapon would be helpful for Dak Prescott. It would help him out. I mean, they do have Tony Pollard, but again, I think the Cowboys need to get an offensive weapon, help this offense get a lot better. The defense was good for the Cowboys. Offensively, it was not good. It just wasn't. So I think having Michael Mayer here, he is a great tight end. And with the 27th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from Tennessee. The Buffalo Bills did not have a good offensive line last year. I mean, it was all right, but they could use a better piece on the offensive tackle side, left tackle, right tackle. The Bills need help on that offensive line. It will help protect Josh Allen. How about so much more? Buffalo Bills don't also have a run game. This would help the run game out a lot more. So I think Darnell Wright will help the Bills out. I think he honestly would. Bills just need to address offensive line in this draft. I think he'd be a good fit here. With the 28th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Osiris Torrance, interior offensive lineman from Florida. Bengals need offensive line help. For many years, we saw in the Super Bowl, did not help out Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow gets sacked 7 times at least in that game, and he still gets sacked a lot. The run game is not that good still. The Bengals tried to address that this past offseason and the season before. Tried to address that. They got the outside, the right tackle and left tackle position, but they need help on the inside. They need help on the inside that can drive it up the middle and drive it up the gut. That is what the Bengals need in offensive line to help push the line, push the trenches out there. That's what the Bengals need, and I think Torrance could be a good fit here for the Bengals. I think he could. With the 29th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Brian Brees, defensive lineman from Clemson. This would be a good pick here for the Saints because, A, the defensive line has not been good for the Saints, except, of course, Cameron Jordan, who's fantastic for them. But they need help on the defensive line of the interior for defensive tackle. They don't really have a great player out there. They need to address that a bit here. And I think the defensive line is a huge issue on the Saints here. This would help the defensive line out and help stop the run game because the Saints against the run game have not looked good. This would be a good fit here for the Saints here with Brian Brees. He has shown he can stop the run. Great nose tackle. I think this would be good here for Brian Brees to go with the Saints. Saints need help on that defense, and I think the defensive line is their biggest need here. Brian Brees, there you go. I think he'd be a great help for you guys. With the 30th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles, select Mazi Smith, defensive lineman from Michigan. Now, I mentioned before, they got Lucas Van Ness early in this draft, edge rusher. But they're going to need another help here on the defensive line. They're going to need another guy here. Now, as I mentioned before, they have Jordan Davis, but Fletcher Cox is getting old. They did lose Jason Hargrave to the 49ers. Mazi Smith, be a good, solid guy here. He would be a solid guy here for the Eagles to help that defensive line out, and the Eagles would not be losing that defensive line. They would not be. So I think Mazi Smith would help the Eagles a lot here. The defensive line still goes well. They still need to address safety, in my opinion. That's a bigger need. But with Branch gone here already in this mock draft, this is where I think the Eagles would pivot towards with Mazi Smith here. Help the Eagles defensive line out because Eagles need to get younger guys on the defense line to keep it going here. With the 31st overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Will McDonald IV from Iowa State. He's an edge rusher, folks. I think the Chiefs still need to help on that defensive line. Offense, they're so good. There's really nothing you can go after. I mean, they do need help on that offensive line a little bit since they lost Orlando Brown, but I think they're fine there. I think having Will McDonald here helps the Chiefs out. They really need to keep it going with the edge rusher. They need to get younger guys going here because they have a lot of guys that are great, but they need to keep that defensive line going here still. And I think this would help out the Chiefs because they need another pass rusher. They need another pass rusher to help on the defensive line. So I think Will McDonald would help the Chiefs out here. But that is my first round mock draft, ladies and gentlemen, from going from number 1 through 31st. That was my mock draft. But folks, please leave your thoughts and comments of what you think about my mock draft. Who would you take in your mock draft? Who you think I was right and who you think I was wrong? Do you think I did good of doing well for your team of who they should pick or not? Please let me know in the comments. But I appreciate everyone watching this video. Appreciate it. I mean, I'm sorry it's been a long time since I've done a video, but I just crazy with school. But I'm gonna be back doing more videos here and there. And this is the first video coming out, and then we're going right back to the Go series. And we'll be doing a draft live stream too. So stay tuned for that. But yes, I'll be doing that. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on. That's a wrap here in the studio. I appreciate you staying on this channel and listening in.